shouldn't be just giving around free meat sacks, you know what I mean? Not everyone gets a meat sack, okay? Greetings, foolish mortals, and by that I mean hello, friends! Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about ghosts. So last year, around this time, around the spooky season, I did a bunch of vampire-themed videos. This year I do not have anything quite as elaborate planned. I've been busy working on things. I thought it would be fun because, like I said in that video, I was supposed to talk about vampires, ghosts, and I think either witches or werewolves. I was going to do all three in one video, and then I wrote that script and had vampire brain rot, and it ended up like 30-something minutes long, and I was like, well, I'm not going to make an hour-and-a-half long video about how to write supernatural creatures. We'll come back to the other guys on another occasion. So this is the other occasion. We're talking about ghosts today. I have some recent-ish experience writing them, and so I thought it would be fun to take a look at some fictional ghosts and talk about the different factors that you can consider when you're writing ghosts of your own. I'm also trying out a new lighting fixture on my LED. It's called Candle, so if you see it like flickering, that's the intended effect. We're hoping that it looks okay in post. Ghosts, like vampires, are very, very old. They date back to 1500 BCE. There are folklore in ancient Roman cities of dead men haunting their former homes, rattling chains. There are ghosts in Shakespeare plays. And there are ghosts in many different cultures with many different significances. To some, ghosts are their ancestors. They are benevolent spirits. They're your passed on family that's looking down on you and helping you through your journey. We see this with media about Day of the Dead in Mexican culture. They leave out ofrendas for their deceased loved ones. They leave out things that their loved ones liked in life to honor them, to aid in their journey to the afterlife, and they believe that, you know, around this time of year, their loved ones come back to check on them and to, you know, take their offerings from the ofrenda, where they keep photos of their loved ones. And so in this instance, like spirits coming back, it's a very good thing. It's a very warm thing. It's benevolent. It's wonderful. We do this sometimes in American cemeteries too. It's not as elaborate or cool. Some people leave out beer bottles if their uncle or whatever liked beer, or like you'll leave CDs of music that they liked in life, like something to like honor their memory and something that their spirit can come back and enjoy in theory. And in these cases, the spirits are seen as benevolent, as loving and wonderful. In other tales, spirits are not so benevolent. Sometimes spirits are evil. Sometimes they are vengeful. Sometimes they have been wronged and they are seeking revenge on the living, whether it's the people who directly affected them or people descended from those who affected them. There are supposedly haunted places all over the world. People say that in the Tower of London you can still hear the spirit of Anne Boleyn, who was beheaded by King Henry VIII. You can hear her like wailing in the tower. People say that battlefields are supposedly haunted because so much death and destruction happened there. When I was in the 8th grade, we went to Washington, D.C. and we stopped in Gettysburg, and that whole town is haunted. They had like ghost tours up the wazoo. There were just, you know, it's all over that place. Places like New Orleans, places like New York, where it's just like, it's a big old city where lots of people have died, and so people have plenty of stories about their own hauntings. Ghosts and ghost stories are all around us and have been for as long as we can remember. But what do we do with these ghosts in our own narratives? Just like ghost stories in real life, ghost stories in fiction are all over the place. You have Casper, friendly little blob, to scary ghosty monsters from horror movies. And I'm just gonna preface now, I will be putting some footage of certain films and media with ghosts in it in this video. I will not be looking at any horror movies because I don't like horror movies, and I'm a scaredy cat, and editor Morgan doesn't want to be digging through scary clips on YouTube, frankly, to find scary jump scare bits with scary ghosts. So maybe I'll put some pictures. Maybe there will be my nice little cork pop sound effect, but I will not be putting in scary footage of scary ghosts. So don't worry, it's okay. You're not in danger here. This is a safe place. But anyway, some ghosts are benevolent, like Casper, like the ghosts from A Christmas Carol, one of the older ghost stories. The ghosts of past, present, and future. Even though the future one is a little scary, like they are all trying trying to teach Scrooge a lesson. They're trying to help him so that he doesn't go to hell for being a horrible billionaire person. Some are lonely and just want friends, like Casper. Some have revenge to get, and this is the Gravity Falls brain rot talking, but like the lumberjack ghost, he was wronged, he wants revenge for that wronging. Some ghosts are evil for no reason, some ghosts are evil for very good reason, just depends on, you know, the media. And some ghosts don't really seem to have a reason at all, like the ghosts from Ghosts. So this is a show I like very much. It's on CBS. I know it's the American version. I've seen the British version. I've seen it. I like both of them. I prefer the American version, I'm sorry. So the ghosts in Ghosts are just like human people who died, and maybe they have some unfinished business, but their spirits are just hanging around. They show in the show, like, when you die, there's a chance that you could stay as a ghost, and sometimes you move on to the afterlife. And the ones that stay just are like hanging around the property, just vibing with each other and learning to get along and learning to navigate a modern world, especially the ones that have been around for like hundreds of years. Most ghosts, whether they're friendly or not, have some form of unfinished business that is keeping them here, whether it's, like I said, revenge, or just to, you know, learn a lesson that they didn't learn in their life yet, something that they need to learn before they're ready to cross over. Ghosts also have all sorts of different physical appearances in media. You have the aforementioned Casper. He's like a blob. He's just an amorphous blob. And then you have ghosts that look completely human. Some ghosts, like Tate from American Horror Story, you can't even tell he's a ghost. Violet didn't know that he was dead. Sorry, spoilers for a show that's been out for 10 plus years, but some ghosts you can't even tell. You look at them and they just look like a normal person. They're not transparent, they're not see-through. Some of them are. Some, like the ghosts in Ghosts, take a sip every time I say that this video, they have some like physical remnant of how they died. So Flower, for example, she died in a bear attack, so she has like bear slashes all over her body. You've got Pete, I think is the most evident example. He got shot with an arrow in the neck and it's literally still like sticking out of his neck. I think that's really fun to play around with. Some ghosts just look like normal humans, like the ones in School Spirits. They don't have any physical remnant of how they died. Wally Clark, for example, he got his neck snapped and he doesn't have any evidence of that still on his spiritual person. he just looks like a jock. He just looks like a guy, and he looks like Milo Manheim. Love you, sir. There's a lot of room to play with. They can look like anything. They can be transparent. They can be solid looking. It's all up to you. They look different in every piece of media that we have. And then, of course, there's the scary ones. Like I said, sometimes they take on like the shape of an animal or a creature. Sometimes they're a shadow with glowing eyes. Sometimes they look like the Grim Reaper. You know, they can look like anything. The scary ones seem to be a little less grounded because their purpose is to scare you, to fill you with fear. So they look like all kinds of things. Some ghosts have hidden powers. Some ghosts are powerless. Some ghosts can touch physical items. They can like throw dishes from shelves. Some ghosts can't. Some ghosts can't even touch physical things at all. They can't touch people. They can't touch anything. It just depends on the strength of the spirit, and I think also the tone of the media. Ghosts are everywhere in fiction, but you're gonna have to ask yourself some questions if you want to write ghosts of your own. I think always when you're writing mythical creatures, and this is the point of all of these videos, I think it's important to keep your lore consistent and to keep your rules consistent. And watch me say this and then someone find like some massive plot hole in O positive and whatever else I write, which is, you know, the point of the vampire anthology I've been working on, is to kind of rein in those rules a little bit, make them a little less loosey-goosey. But I think asking yourself these questions and deciding upon these answers before you get started can really like help you like keep it grounded, keep it consistent, make your ghosts feel real, make them feel like limited in consistent ways. So here we go. The first and most important question you need to ask yourself about your ghost character is, who are they? I don't mean like just the name or their age or when they died. I mean like, what are they in your story? Are they your protagonist? Is your protagonist recently deceased? Did they die a long time ago? Is their story like pertaining to their death, or do they have other goals in mind? Are they like trying to come to terms with the fact that they died and the fact that they're a ghost now? Or are they like solving a mystery, you know? I feel like if the ghost is the main character, there's a lot of room to play with, and you have to ask them, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions about who they are and what they want. Are they your protagonist's best friend? Are they your protagonist's parent? Are they a work rival? Are they a roommate? Like, what role are they filling in your story? Are they an antagonist? Are they a monster that's haunting a house that your protagonist is trying to, like, exorcise or something? I feel like whatever role this spirit is filling helps you determine a lot about, like, the tone of your book. It's really sad if, like, a friend or a parent passes on and they're haunting your narrative, literally and figuratively. I think that's really sad. I think that lends really well to like a tragedy, a drama, a real tearjerker, and it can have funny moments, but I think that that is inherently like a really sad concept. Your work rival, however, like haunting the coffee machine at your workplace, I think that's kind of funny. Like, I feel like that's a good concept for a comedy, like a situational place and time kind of comedy. My work rival died and now he's haunting the coffee machine, like that kind of thing. So I think, you know, who they were to your protagonist helps. It can help you, like, really set the tone. Because I think, you know, like I said, even if you do, like, a comedic route, if your character's dad ghost is, like, floating around all the time, you're constantly going to be reminded that her dad died, you know? Like, it's just... It's always going to be there. It's always going to be haunting the narrative, even if you're trying to do something else with that tone. And then, of course, you can have, like, ghosts that your protagonist didn't know in life. Maybe they move to a new house and it's haunted. Maybe they go to a new school and the school is haunted. These are ghosts that, like, maybe they died long before your protagonist was even born. Maybe they're hundreds of years old. Maybe they died in the 80s. Like, there's a lot of room to play with. I feel like that's a completely different dynamic because you're not only getting to know who they are now in their afterlife, but you don't know who they were in life. And maybe there is like a memory break in between the two. Maybe the ghost that your protagonist meets doesn't remember who they were in life, and that's the mystery that you're trying to solve. I feel like there is a lot of wiggle room there. One of my favorite tropes ever is a love story in which one person is human and the other person is a ghost or some other form of monster. I do this a lot in my writing, like no one should be surprised. I feel like the work speaks for itself. No one should be surprised that this is a favorite trope of mine. But with ghosts, I feel like you get a different level of angst. Like with a vampire love interest, there's always the chance that they could turn you. You know, there doesn't have to be the immortal angst of it, like I'm gonna outlive you, like whatever. It doesn't have to be, because they can turn you into a vampire with them. With a ghost, it's a little harder to cross that I mean, people die, right? But like, to cross the bridge the other way, like it's hard to bring people back to life. Like that's just kind of not something that happens very often. So I feel like there's that other like level of angst where you're on different planes of existence. Sometimes you can't even touch. And I feel like that opens the door for like all kinds of delicious, yummy angst. So play around with that. Give your protagonist a ghost boyfriend. Who knows? Ghost girlfriend. Ooh, lesbian ghosts. Ooh. And now that you know who your ghost is in your story, you have to figure out how much they can and can't do for the plot. First and foremost, what does your ghost look like when a human is looking at them? Are they transparent?
I can see right through you. Kind of happens when you don't have any skin.
Are they human looking? Are they an amorphous blob? Are they a shadow? That's a cool idea. Maybe they're like a shadow on... Ooh, see my shadow? My hand shadow? Maybe they're a shadow on the wall. Maybe they have no definition. They're just 2D, like on the wall. They can look like anything. I think it's very fun to play around with transparent characters. I think it's kind of fun to play around with the twist of they look very solid. I couldn't tell they were dead until I tried to touch them. Oh, do they have a remnant on them, like a physical remnant of how they died? If they burned alive, are they still smoking? If they drowned to death, are they dripping puddles on the floor? That's like one of my favorite tropes ever. I think that's so fun. They do that in The Sims as well, but they do it in some other media too, and I have definitely used that trope in the upcoming book that I'm working on. I love a drowned ghost that drips on the floor. I think it's so fun. Does your ghost like smell like something? Maybe they smell like a perfume they wore a lot in life. Flower from Ghost smells like weed. When she walks through you, you get high.
And I'm stoned.
Like that's fun to play with. Can people see your ghosts? Can certain people see your ghosts? Maybe only mediums and psychics and witches can see your ghosts. Maybe other supernatural creatures are more attuned to that. People with their third eye open, that kind of thing. Can your protagonist see the ghost, or do they have to do something to see them? Maybe there is an amulet that they can wear that can open their eyes to ghosts. Maybe they hit their head really hard, and after their near-death experience they can see ghosts. That's how it happens in Ghosts. Are they only visible on certain nights? Maybe they're only visible under the full moon. Can your ghosts choose to be visible or invisible? Can they make that choice? Can they disappear? Can they choose to just step out for a minute? Do they have to strain really hard to make themselves seen and heard? Maybe it takes a lot of spiritual energy to make people able to see them. We need to talk about the boundaries of your ghost's haunting. Some ghosts have no boundaries. Some ghosts go wherever they want, wherever they please, like the ghosts from Julie and the Phantoms. Sunset Curve can snap their fingers and go wherever they want. Some ghosts in different media are bound to a property. So the ghosts from Ghosts can't leave the house. They get to the edge of the property, it bounces them right back in. Maybe they're bound to an island. Maybe they live on a small island and they can't leave the edges of the island. Maybe they are on a college campus. That's an idea I've been playing around with a little bit recently, as a ghost that haunts a college campus. So all they can do is go to the edges of the campus. They can't go any further than that, but there's still like a lot of room to play inside. There's a lot of buildings that they can go into and explore. It's like a big enough place to not feel like a cage, but a small enough place where you would still feel isolated. And I feel like this also, the terms of their haunting, has a lot to do with your tone as well. Like if you have a ghost that can't leave the house, can't leave like a room, that's the saddest Pookie ever. He can't go anywhere. It adds to the angst. Their slice of the world that they can inhabit is so small now compared to what they used to have. I feel like it can also add to comedy though, like if you are writing characters that are in an apartment and the ghost can't leave the apartment, I feel like your living character is like, why are you haunting the dishwasher? Quit haunting the dishwasher. And your ghost is just like, well, I don't have anything else to do. I'm stuck here. Like, I feel like that can also play into comedy, using your setting to your advantage, basically. If you have a free roaming ghost, I feel like there is a bit of horror there. If you're playing it scary, you have a ghost that's following you everywhere you go. You can't get rid of them. They are with you all the time. I feel like that's really scary, genuinely scary. Whereas if you have a ghost in your apartment, you know, he's always there. Like, even if it is a scary ghost, you have certain expectations about where that ghost is going to be. You can leave that place and never come back. Why would you ever go back? But if the ghost is bound to you and following you wherever you go, I feel like that is inherently very scary. Can your ghosts be trapped somewhere? Think of the Ghostbusters. They have their little ghost traps that they can put ghosts in. They have their big ghost vaults that they put ghosts in. Can your ghost be trapped in one of those, or does that like not work on them at all? Can they be sucked up into a vacuum cleaner? Can they be trapped in a silver mirror? Can they be bound to an object like a pocket watch or a knife or something? Does it have to be something that was important to them in life? Is this their anchor? We should talk about anchors. If they are trapped somewhere, what does it take for them to break out of it? Maybe the mirror is cracked a little bit. Maybe someone drops the mirror and they get out. Yeah, can they be trapped and can they get out of that trap? Can your ghosts be banished? Can they be exorcised if they possess someone? Can you like force them out, or are they just like in there until they decide not to be? That's very scary. Can they be destroyed? Like, can your ghost, without like passing on, I mean like destroyed, can they be destroyed by someone, a spell or a ritual or someone's magic or something? Do they have, speaking of anchors, do they have something tying them to earth? Is it an object? Is it a person? Maybe it's someone they knew in life they are bound to, like a husband and wife. Like maybe the wife passes away and she haunts her husband until he dies and then he passes on, so she does. Very sad, very haunting. Maybe it's like their object. If they're a kid, maybe it's their favorite toy. Like maybe there was like a baseball that was very important to them and you dig it up in your backyard and suddenly you're a mother to a ghost child. Very fun. Very sad also, ghost child. But what happens if you destroy the anchor? Does the ghost get destroyed? Do they become a ghoul? Maybe they lose their humanity. Maybe they lose their memories. These are all things to think about, like the weight of physical objects the weight of your ghost and their memories and their personality and their humanity even after they've passed on. What do ghosts feel like when you touch them? Can you touch them? Most of the time the answer is no, but maybe you can, you know? Maybe you are a special person. Maybe you're dead too and you didn't realize it. Ooh, plot twist. Can you touch them? Does your hand go right through theirs? I think Casper describes himself as feeling like he's made of TV static.
What are you made of? Well, you know that tingling feeling when your foot falls asleep? I think I'm made of that.
I feel like that's a really good visual. Are they cold to the touch? Are they hot to the touch? Maybe they burn to death and so you feel like you're boiling, like when they're close. Maybe they froze to death and they're very cold. I feel like most ghosts are cold. I feel like that's like standard, but I feel like it's fun to play with the other temperatures. Maybe they're warm. Maybe they burn to death. Maybe, yeah, they give you like a fever, like when they're nearby, or possessing you. Like you feel like you're boiling out of your skin. I feel like there's a certain level of angst. If you're dealing with ghost love interests, there's a certain level of angst if they can't touch each other.
This is an interesting little relationship you and I have.
And there's always that burning itch of finding a way to touch each other, whether it's like him possessing a vessel to touch her or them finding some way to bring him back to life. There's always that level of angst of I just want to touch you. I just want to be able to touch you. One of my favorite, I was going to talk about this later, but we'll talk about it now. One of my favorite comics on TikTok, I'll link it. I'll put like footage here and I'll link it below. It's Omar and Ellie. It's this ghost guy who's like haunting her apartment. I don't know all the lore. I just see it sometimes and I think it's really neat. But that's one of the things that they've been struggling with is like how to get her onto his plane so they can touch each other. And oh, it's so good. It's so delicious. Oh, I love the angst. I love it so much. But yeah, go check that out. That's a fun little playlist for you to watch. If they can't touch people, even if they can they touch other stuff? Can they knock your dishes off the shelf? Can they pick things up? Is it hard for them? Can they touch stuff a little bit, like Trevor from Ghosts?
No, sorry, hold on.
Got it, you got it, you got it. Focus, focus.
Okay.
You got it.
He can write on the mirror, but it takes him a very long time. I feel like the scarier your ghost is, the more they should be able to touch stuff. Like, I feel like it's really sad if your sad little ghost Pookie can't pick up a cup, but a ghost that's haunting your apartment and like terrorizing you and throwing all your dishes off the shelf, I feel like that's kind of par for the course. They should be able to throw stuff around if their intent is to scare you. This is really, really interesting. So the show School Spirits, which I mentioned earlier, I really love that show. I do want to talk about it before season 2 comes out, but one of the things that they do in that show, which I think is really, really interesting, is their ghosts can pick something up and like make a copy of that thing. So say you bring your phone to school and one of the ghosts picks up your phone. You still have your phone, but they now have a copy of your phone that they can unlock and use. And they obviously can't like make calls with it or anything, but they could listen to all the messages that you have on your phone. They could scroll through all your pictures. Like they have their own copy of your phone. I've never seen anyone do that with ghosts before. I think that's a really interesting thing. Their ghosts, I also didn't talk about this in my what do they look like section. Can they change their clothes? Like, the ghosts in School Spirits they change their clothes all the time. I think it's limited to stuff that's within the school, like physically, like they make copies of stuff, like I said. If they can copy it, like pull something out of someone's locker or pull something from like the costume department, like they can change into that. I think it is limited to what's in their space, but you know, the ghosts from Ghosts can't change their clothes at all. They are locked into those outfits, and so I think it's really funny when they're promoting a new season and the new promo images look exactly the same as every other promo shoot that they've done because all the characters are dressed exactly the same and they don't change their costumes aside from like one, well, in flashbacks, but in one episode Sasapis was like in Jay's dreams and so he was able to wear different stuff in the dreamscape.
Pizza oven. What? Get a pizza oven. You want a pizza oven. You can't live without a pizza oven.
And I was like, oh my god, we're seeing him in other clothes for the first time ever. But yeah, so you should think about if your ghost can change their clothes, if they can change into stuff. I have a ghost, and I'm not gonna say anything else, but I'm trying not to spoil like this book before it comes out. But he has like a base layer of clothes that he wears, and then he can put stuff over that, but he can't really like take the other stuff off, like it kind of just responds on his body. So yeah, he can put like a suit jacket on top of it and he can wear that around, but he can't like change into like a t-shirt and sweatpants, like that kind of thing, until certain other things happen. But yeah, that's how I handle that personally. Anyway, back to touch. If you touch a ghost or try to, and your hand goes through them, does it hurt the ghost? Does it hurt the human? Does it have any effect, like lingering effect on the person that they pass through? Like I said, Flower from Ghost gets you high when she walks through you. Do they end up possessed? I feel like possession is a whole other thing. Let's talk about that in general. Does it hurt the ghost to possess someone? Does it hurt the meat puppet that they are possessing? Is it like a shared custody situation? Is the ghost in the driver's seat or the passenger seat? Like, are they just kind of in the back of your head, like taking control a little bit, like moving your hands, or are they like fully like in control and you are in the back seat? Or maybe you're not conscious at all. I feel like that's the other possibility there. Can possession be prevented? Can you get like a sigil tattooed? Like, I think this is a Supernatural thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Miffy Turtle. They have like a tattoo that prevents them from getting possessed. Is there like a sigil or something that you can get on your body to prevent that from happening? Can you wear an amulet to stop that? Is there a way to get this, like, force the spirit out once it's inside of you? Can any ghost possess people, or just certain ghosts? Like maybe it's ghosts of a certain age, like older, more powerful ghosts can do possession. Is it like a skill they can learn, or is it something they either can or can't do? Does the person possessed get connected to the ghost? Can they see the ghost's memories? Can the ghost see their memories? Are they like connected like on a mental level once that possession happens? And then how long does the possession last? Is this like a couple hours, or could it be like weeks? You know, I feel like those are very different things. Finally, actually this is not finally, do your ghosts have other powers? So again, not to bring it up again, but the show Ghosts, most of the ghosts have their own ghostly power. So for example, Thorfinn, he's a Viking, he got struck by lightning, he can control electronics. So in this case, it is tied to how he died. But maybe your ghostly powers are tied to the person they were in life. Maybe the person who died was like a psychic. Maybe she can see the future as a ghost, like see the future. Like, are the powers tied to who they were or how they died, or are they completely unrelated? Maybe it's tied to the place that they died. Maybe the place that they're haunting gives them certain abilities. Like a ghost that died at a lighthouse, maybe they can glow really bright. That's like a really cheesy example, but you know what I'm saying. Maybe a ghost who died in the forest can control deer or like other animals or stuff, or appear as a deer. Do your ghosts have to die to become ghosts? This seems like a stupid question. Maybe there is a curse involved. Maybe a spell was put on them and they are trapped between planes of existence. Maybe so long as their body exists, they are able to roam as a ghost. Maybe their body got destroyed and that's why they're trapped as a ghost. Maybe it's a Coco situation where like Miguel is not dead, but he's in the realm of the dead and he will become dead if he stays there for too long because he's not supposed to be there. Can they ever return to life? Can the curse be reversed somehow if there's a curse involved? Can someone who is really, truly, actually dead be brought back to life? Can their spirit be given a physical form if they've been haunting around for a while? Is there a ritual involved? Is it like a life for life situation? I kind of feel like it should be. That's my personal standpoint, is if you're going to bring a character back to life, someone else should have to die for them to do it. It should be a trade-off. Shouldn't be just given around free meat sacks, you know what I mean? Not everyone gets a meat sack, okay? Like, not everyone can have one. I feel like there has to be some kind of trade-off for something like that heavy, of bringing someone who was like really truly dead back to life. And then finally, can your ghosts move on to whatever's next? Is this a choice that they make? Ben from the Umbrella Academy chose to stay behind with Klaus. He had the chance to move on, but he knew that his brother needed him, so he chose to stay behind and haunt him. Under what circumstances are your ghosts bound to Earth to begin with? Is it like an unfinished business thing? When they finish their unfinished business, maybe they have a choice to move on or not? Do they move, like I said, free will, or are they forcibly like moved on to what's next? Is there heaven and hell in your universe? I feel like that's Like, what does the afterlife look like? Like, the actual afterlife after their haunting period. Is there another place they go, or does their spirit get reincarnated somewhere? Like Corpse Bride, the beautiful, beautiful little butterflies flying off. Like, do they get reincarnated somewhere into the universe, whether it's as a person, or as a thing, or as a flock of butterflies? Is it like a soft, beautiful moment like the butterflies, like Thackeray Binks walking through the sunlit gates? Or is it like quick? In School Spirits, when one of the spirits moves on, there's like a big flash of light that happens, and it's really fast. It takes, and it's beautiful. It's very fast. In Ghosts as well, like when you get, they call it this in the show, when they get sucked off.
It was not time for Thor to be sucked off.
You got sucked off. You wish I got sucked off.
There's a bright flash and boom, they're just gone. And it's really fast. There's not time for it to be like a beautiful thing. And then, like, when they are gone, can they peep in on the people that they care about on Earth, or are they just like gone forever? Like, can they check in from heaven or whatever, or are they just gone? I think it's really nice when, like, a character who's passed on, like, shows themselves, not like as a spirit, but through like a sign or something. Like, if someone was associated with birds a lot, maybe that specific bird will like perch near the other character, and you just know that they're there, and you can like feel it, but it's not like the spirit of Master Splinter coming back to life. Like, it's not an overt thing. It's just like kind of gentle and soft. But yeah, those are ghosts. That's ghosts. We talked about ghosts. Like I said, these are creatures I feel very passionately about. Casper was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I loved it very much. I still do. I watch it every year. Julie and the Phantoms is one of my favorite shows. School Spirits, like I said. Ghosts. I watch all those kinds of things. I'm a Haunted Mansion enthusiast. This pearl string is very Constance Hatchaway of me. It's One Piece. The One Piece is real. It's one piece. It's just, I'm not wearing like 5 different strings. They're all connected in the back. I got this at an antique store for like $5, and it's very, very elegant. Very tacky. But yeah, I love the Haunted Mansion. When I was in middle school, one of my favorite books ever was called Forevermore. Right there. Very good. I've been meaning to reread it and do a video on it. I think it would be very fun. I have one of the author, Cindy Miles, that's her name, one of her other books, which is about a Highland Knight ghost, and as an Outlander girly, I'm excited. So I do have it, I just haven't read it yet. I've been a fan of the ghost human romance trope for a very, very long time. I've been working on like I said, a murder mystery that has some ghostly elements. And so I'm hoping someday soon my story will grace your shelves and you'll be able to read all about my ghosts. And if you're watching this, maybe you're writing some ghosts of your own. Tell me about your ghosts. Did I miss some of your faves from fiction? Let me know all that in the comments down below. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day. And as always, take your meds, drink your water, and I'll see you when I see ya. Oop, I kicked the camera again.